this was, I believe, Sunday and Monday Night Football, and
Right.
then this is one of those spots that aired and did very well. It was very successful, I think, for everyone on television. Had a massive jump in pre-sales the night it aired, or the day it aired. And then millions and millions of people sought it out online afterwards, and that's a cool thing when you have a spot that goes out there and it's a real intelligent media buy, and then you find that your audience is seeking out the full spot to find out even more information about the game, and then you know you've done something right.
Cool. All right, let's take a look at the Modern Warfare 2 Infamy trailer.
Cain was the first man ever to strike down another. And when the Lord came to him and said, "What have you done?" Cain could not hide his crime, for the voice of his brother's blood cried out from the very ground. The world has been your battlefield. Everywhere you go, the blood of brothers and sons screams out against you. Perhaps you cannot yet hear it. Because the soil is not your own. But you will. You will.
Now, Rob, let me ask you a question from a gamer perspective. Sometimes these trailers look phenomenal, but they give away so much of the game. Sometimes
Right.
that's one thing that gamers always worry about. It's like, the trailer looks great, but it's like I see that I'm in the airport. There's the airport massacre.
Right.
Now I know Washington's being attacked. I remember even the launch spot we looked at, like that showed some of the stuff like in space. That scene. It's like you're giving away all these great shots in the game. How do you guys balance what you need to make a great spot while also not kind of spoiling the game for the gamers?
Well, I mean, part of that obviously is a pretty in-depth knowledge of what the full story of the game is to begin with.
Okay.
It's not unlike working with a television show or with a theatrical piece in that, although sometimes they're obviously willing to give away the ending too, so it may always not be the best comparison. But I mean, you've got a ton of assets there, and from it you can make a pretty good story without actually completely giving it away. The fact of the matter is, I mean, if you look at that and then you look at the final commercial pieces and such that air at the spots with M&M, it feels like, well, we've seen it all, but in fact, if you play the game, you haven't remotely seen it all.
There's so much.
There's so much more there. And one of the neat things is that when you do have games like this, and they come along every now and then, and it's really fun to work on it because they have so many different locations, there's so many different characters involved that, and I think this even happens to a certain extent in the AC2 campaign, there's so much stuff going on there that you can present what appears to be a very straight story, but in fact there are misdirects left and right in there. And I mean, if you look at this campaign and you really pull it apart, you look at what's being stated within the scripts and so on and so forth there with the narration and the dialogue from the characters, there's a lot of things in there that are complete misdirects for the viewer that are leading them to believe one thing when in fact it's something else entirely. On the other hand, and it's sort of funny to watching this again, I mean, if you watch the teaser, you watch the reveal trailer, and you watch these spots, you see the airport massacre either referenced or shown in every single one of them. And in fact, the teaser is only about the airport massacre.
But no one connected the dots.
And nobody connected the dots. I mean, or at least nobody. I mean, I think some of the core sort of did, but it's sort of amazing. There was this massive backlash, you know, when that footage was leaked from France or wherever it was. And I think from a marketing standpoint, our team was a bit bemused by it because we're like, well, we've been showing you this for 8 months.
Right.
And now you just realize that this is actually happening.
Yeah. I mean, there was sensitive stuff in that game. I mean, tell me a bit about, you know, the balancing act you have with, like, you know, the attack coming, you know, on U.S. soil there and how you were going to roll that out. I'm sure there was lots of debates about, you know, do we show this? How do we show it tactfully?
Well, I mean, that spot on paper shouldn't work.
Right.
I mean, the spot's got religion in it. It's got attack on U.S. soil. It's got all this stuff that really, if you put it together and you look at it, you're like, I don't think this is going to be very entertaining.
Right.
But in fact, what you do with it, what I hope anyway, that the viewer comes away with in something like that is you see this group that is banded together, and we've shown them since day one, and we've sort of built them up as this faction that is so incredibly intent on the agenda that they have that they're going to stop at nothing, regardless of how horrendous their means are, to get to that agenda. And then ultimately what you find out is their agenda is in fact attacking the US soil. They're doing something that, as in real life, should be fairly or very demoralizing, I think, to the public and to, in this case, the country at large. But in fact, I think when you view this, you walk away, especially as a viewer or as a potential player, you walk away from it thinking, I want to kill those guys. Like, you know, they're coming in and we've made them out to be absolutely immoral on every possible level. And now they're attacking U.S. soil. And at that point, that's when you need to pull out the big guns and say, okay, we're going to take these guys out. And that was the perfect lead-in then, you know, to where the commercial campaign came in.
Cool. Yeah. Let's take a look now at the 30-second launch spot, I guess, for Modern Warfare 2.
Get your limited edition Xbox 360 console.